For Rock Solid Sports.
The crowd comes alive. The Volunteers are ready. It's football time in Tennessee.
Knox drops back, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Out by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. What a turn of events.
Give him 6.
To the trigger orders. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Rock Solid Sports, the only show with a home field advantage for UT Athletics. Here's tonight's host.
Welcome everybody into the Wednesday night edition of Rock Solid Sports. I'm your host, Tucker Harlan, alongside Dominic Throngard. Across the glass from us, Devin Hoke. Dominic, it's been a long 2 weeks since we've talked last. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fine. The mountains of North Carolina were very refreshing.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
I
You were able to get a nice little spa retreat for yourself.
Yeah, kind of. But I did get to see I believe it was a cat on a paddleboard. Yes, a cat on a paddleboard in a lake. That is a first for me.
Was it a mountain lion? That kind of cat?
No, dude, not a mountain lion. Common house cat.
Wow.
Common house cat.
Can't say I've seen that, but
Nope.
I have seen a cougar on a chain in someone's driveway.
Well, I feel like that's a little bit more typical out west. Devin, how you doing on this fine Wednesday evening? Yeah, that is real weird. But getting into the show now, as what has been a tradition for us now on Wednesday nights here in the summertime, Dominic sat down with Knox SC head coach Mark McKeever, and he got a chance to talk to him for just a little bit earlier today. So here we go. We're going to roll that interview for you here on Rock Solid Sports. Mark McKeever of Knox.
First thing first, the team's played 2 contests since the last time we interviewed you. Run us through how those last 2 matches went and how the team is feeling.
Yeah, obviously we've only got 1 point out of 6 in the last two games, and obviously the home games, so we're all upset and disappointed.
It's been tough.
We've lost some cheaper goals than we have done all season in the last 2 games, but we also have to credit that to the quality of teams that we're playing against. They're very hard for us, so probably 2 of the best teams in the league. I feel as though the performance in terms of on the ball and chances created and possession and shape and structure, I think we played actually very well, in patches, but we've failed at the moments defensively, unfortunately. The big plus is we're scoring goals now, so it's strange. It's been a kind of flip-flop in, when we weren't scoring, we were playing really well in the back, and now that we are scoring, we're just leaking really soft goals. So we need to find a recipe that's going to make it right at both ends of the field, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sort of speaking on that consistency and finding that with the young squad, obviously patience can be a key factor. How do you keep the guys patient and in good spirits through the tough stretches?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still figuring the patience part out for myself, right? It's tough. I think, in the moment last night, I'm really upset that we have really poor moments defensively because the players that are involved in the tournaments are really good players, and it seems as though it's just a flood of errors that we're having individually over the course of the past 2 games that haven't happened previously. But as you look at the scope of a season and with a new squad, I think that you probably have to prepare for those moments that happen. I think every other team in the league has had the moments, the high moments, the low moments, the wave of games, and the positive and negative is we've only lost 2 games in the last 9, which is incredible for a new franchise. But the opposite end of that is we're not winning many of those either, right? So we need to start getting points on the table if we're going to make a serious run at playoffs. But I feel as though I know that, the players
That's what it was.
We're all invested in it. And like I said to them last night,
That's what I was going to reveal, but you already found it.
They are very committed,
Yep.
very hard working. As you've seen over the
Can't
course
wait
of
to
this
see
season,
Devin's
they never
live
give up.
reaction.
They never give up. We just need a wee bit more quality in the
He probably doesn't even know.
Yeah, and the club also unveiled a new signing 2 days ago. He made his debut last night. What should the fans expect out of Gio Calistro?
Yeah, Gio's a dynamic player. He can play outside, he can play inside, he can play high as a target 9 and run the channels, and he can play in the gaps towards checking in the gaps and playing in the half spaces on the half turn, etc. So he's an exciting young player. He's pacey, he works hard, and he's very creative. So. Like any other player, I don't think he's going to set the world on fire in a couple of games, but I'm hoping that he's able to make progress here through the next 3 weeks or so.
And will the club look to make any other moves before the deadline? And could you explain a little bit as to how transfers work in the USL one? I was looking for information on it, and I wasn't able to get too much.
Yeah, I mean, we're still figuring that out. So, the transfers are obviously they're very doable. With a new franchise that is working off a limited budget, we're certainly not going to be looking to bring in Sergio Ramos or Lionel Messi at any point. So I don't think, in terms of buying players from other teams, that won't happen. Searching for other players that may be available as free agents, that's potential as well. But again, as you start to look into the dynamics of what types of players you could bring in, you don't want to bring in a player that's not been playing for last year, even though he might be talented, because it's going to take 7-8 games to evolve, and the 7 or 8 games were at the end of the season, so it's become irrelevant there. So we are looking at potential loan deals from other clubs, which obviously could be functional for us. It could be functional for the club that they're at right now, and it could be functional for the player. So I think as we're branching into kind of looking to maybe deepen or strengthen the squad, I think, we're looking for the diamond in the rough that might not be doing what the other team wants them to do. Maybe looking for a little bit of change in environment itself, but has to be good enough to come in and impact and make us better. We don't want to add for the sake of adding. We want to add because it's right for everybody.
Yeah, and shifting focus to this weekend. Yeah, Greenville Triumph up next away from home. How are you preparing your guys for the weekend?
Excuse me. Obviously, when we want to go over the better field, excuse me, we want to go over the better field that we had last night, and as always, we reset our board and our brain, and we try and get the ground level again and get the emotions straight. We have a really good period here where there's a lot of points up for grabs. So, we're treating Saturday like a cup final. We snatched 3 points the last time against Greenville, so we've got to believe that we can do it again. And I think every 3 points right now to the end of the season is certainly achievable.
Yeah, and looking back at the games that you've already played this year, what's one lesson you want your players to carry from those matches into the back half of the season?
Yeah, I think it's been a repetitive message that.
All right, 30 seconds.
We do very, very well. When we have 3 or 4 players not show up and reach their potential, then we'll really struggle. So I think the message is always going to be the big moments at both ends of the field are kind of what's dictating and identifying who we are as a team. So, at times we're succeeded there, we've done really well, and at the time we're failing in the big moments, we're obviously so.
And that's all today from me, Coach. Thank you very much. Pleasure is all.
That was One Knox SC head coach Mark McKeever talking to Dominic earlier today. And, it looked like they had a bit of a rough match yesterday. What was it, a 4-2 loss to Northern Colorado Hailstorm?
Yeah, that one was a bit rough, just unfortunate. And like we talked about a little bit in the interview, the team has just lacked some consistency lately. And, if you get the chance to talk to him after the games, you can tell he cares a lot about winning the games and being better in every single match. So you can tell it's tough on him to lose those games because he wants them so bad. But the team, unfortunately, did struggle a bit with consistency and they finally got the goal scoring down, but the defense has just been a little bit lackluster and spotty in some spots.
Yeah, 4 for a professional soccer match, I feel like, is a little bit too high to be given up. But he was talking a little bit about, or you guys were talking a little bit about the, I guess, free agency, but they call it transfer at the same time. How exactly does that work?
Well, so the guy they got, Gio Calixto, he was a transfer out of FC Tucson. So they, I believe with him, they purchased him from that team because the way it works in soccer is you buy players, you negotiate a price with the other club, and then once you've agreed on a price, you're free to negotiate a contract with the player, and the player can accept or deny. So it's a lot different than American sports, where usually the players can't really accept or deny. In soccer, they always have the ability to deny a move. And so, from my understanding, it was a transfer signing and not a free agent signing. And he's coming from FC Tucson, out of Arizona. Hopefully, going to bring some depth to the squad and a little bit of a spark.
Yeah, it seems like it's good for these guys to have the ability to kind of choose where they want to go, as opposed to being, manipulated by front offices, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw the Bradley Beal situation.
Oh, yeah.
And what happens when you give a player in the NBA the ability to have a no-trade clause. But it's definitely different in soccer because I feel like, as opposed to the NBA, especially for the stars and whatnot, teams work so differently. So there can be a lot of competition for a starting spot and just playing time in general. And usually players, especially when they're young, they want to be on a team that's playing them a lot. So they're getting experience and becoming better players.
Awesome. So we got to run to a quick break now. But on the other side, we got to talk some MLB. The All-Star festivities, for the most part, have concluded. We are still in the All-Star break, but the game and the Home Run Derby have been played already. And the draft happened this past weekend. A lot of familiar names to Tennessee fans were taken in this draft. So we will have all that for you on the other side of the break right here on Rock Solid Sports on Volunteer Radio 90.3 The Rock, UT's College of Rock.
Ronaldo, Sonic Youth, and you're listening to 90.3 The Rock, Modern Rock, and Knoxville.
Volunteer Radio.
Rock Solid Sports Liner.
Social.
Really? Is this for this hour?
Yep. Funny.
Reading our own letters
Here
insane.
cocktails, 21-foot digital big screen TV, and plenty more TVs throughout the restaurant and the back patio. Open at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. at 4 p.m. FieldhouseSocial.com or their Facebook page. Fieldhouse Social proudly sponsors WUTK's Rock Solid Sports Monday Summer Show at 7 p.m.
Hey, sports fans, tune in to Rock Solid Sports, WUTK's sports talk show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays during the summer at 7 p.m. UT Sports, Pro Sports, college athletics, area high school sports, and more are featured on Rock Solid Sports. Rock Solid Sports summertime shows are sponsored by our Monday night home for the show at Fieldhouse Social in the University Commons Shopping Center, and the Friday show hosts at the Hill Bar and Grill in Fort Sanders. Tune in for interviews, UT recruiting news, a look at the upcoming football season, and more. Be sure to like the Rock Solid Sports Facebook page or check out rocksolidsports.org. Rock Solid Sports, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. on 90.3 The Rock, the only sports show in town with a home field advantage for UT athletics.
90.3 The Rock, thanks to UT Athletic Department for their support. 2023 football Vols will play home games at Neyland Stadium against SEC rivals South Carolina, Georgia, Texas A&M, and others. Allballs.com for info. For the link at
It's been a while since I've heard a
WUTKradio.com.
football ad. Feels good.
Big Orange Pigs UTK.edu. 91.3 The Rock says, Go Balls.
The Rock thinks
I hate this spot so much. The weird music in the background. What is the deal?
It's like someone died at this.
Taco Tuesdays, Wing Wednesdays, and those Rock Solid Sports.
Like, what is this?
KnoxVille.com for social media platforms.
It's so awful.
Knoxville Ice Bears Southern Professional
weird to hear someone not called Dylan Becker doing an Ice Bear spot?
October through April includes games in
Oh my
Fayetteville,
goodness.
Huntsville, Roanoke,
This is
and more.
insane.
Visit
Who let this happen?
Benny?
Single game and season tickets
He's
at
the only answer.
NationalWrestlers.com.
He's got to get Dylan in for this.
Wednesdays with news and updates.
Dylan's on another spot here. It's just not that one.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan Roxy, and you are listening to 90.3 The Rock.
I wonder what Dylan is doing post graduation.
That I am very curious about.
From 8 until 10 p.m. for the alternative.
What was his major? Didn't even remember.
Shoes on Gate Street.
I use journalism.
The Gallery Shopping Center, also sponsored by Boyd Chicken Wheel Bar and Live.
Believe it or not.
In the heart of Knoxville's old city.
For whatever reason, that doesn't make sense.
Invest in Americana music.
I don't know
From the
why.
station who first brought Knoxville music by fans to back in the old country days like the Jayhawks, Uncle Tupelo, Steve Earle, and Jason and the Scorchers. To Knoxville's Americana, Whiskey Town, Lucinda Williams, Sunbird, and others. Modern day Americana musicians like Holly Taylor, Tyler Cooper, Casey Musgraves, Strickle Simpson, Billy Strange, and the Punch Brothers. You'll also get classic Americana like Johnny Cash, the band, and Emily Harris, and there's always Patsy Cline at night. Wednesday night today, free alternative. Sponsored by Boyd Chicken Wheel, Bliss Home, and Tory Wilson Shoes, and only on 90.3 The Rock, QT's College.
No. Okay. Might be worth talking about.
Yeah, we can definitely mention
Yeah.
it. MLB stuff.
Yeah. We're going to have a pretty big chunk of time to discuss that.
Like to take more USL League tickets, including QT student tickets and game day info at oneknoxsc.com. WTK is proud to be a media partner with One Knox. Rock Solid Sports will be keeping up with One Knox soccer all season long. One Knox SC. We are one.
Volunteer radio receives support from Tennessee Smokies Baseball, Double A Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2023 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesdays through Sundays at nearby Smoky Stadium in Kodak against the Chattanooga Lookouts, Mississippi Braves, Birmingham Barons, and more. WUTK's Rock Solid Sports covers Smokies Baseball all season long. SmokiesBaseball.com. Link up at WUTKRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Wednesday night edition of Rock Solid Sports. Tucker Harlan, Dominic Throngard, Devin Hook, all here with you on this brilliant Wednesday evening. And we are going to jump into a little bit of MLB talk now. Actually, not a little bit of. We've got a lot to talk about in regards to MLB. First of all, we are in the midst of the All-Star break. So, of course, no games going on right now, but we did have one last night. The All-Star game took place last night in T-Mobile Park up there in Seattle, home of the Seattle Mariners. And the National League won it 3-2 over the American League. Interesting to see these teams doing so well on the defensive end as opposed to, hitting runs and, maybe not wanting to use guys burn through arms necessarily in this game, but I think it makes sense, right? You want to save your arms. You don't want to run through a ton of just really big arms and just damage people.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's always interesting, too, to compare all-star games between leagues. And the MLB, I feel, is like one of the only ones that really kind of takes it seriously. Because the NBA, their all-star game at this point, it's a joke. And, the MLB is just kind of that gold standard all-star game where everyone actually is curious to see what happens. Oh, the two-hand touch or the flag football all-star game.
It's bad. I mean, Devin, where is Sean Taylor when you need him? Exactly. Yeah, would appreciate some of those guys to come around. So, yeah, that took place last night. The NL took down the AL 3-2 in the All-Star game. Before that, you had the Home Run Derby, which Vlad Guerrero Jr. won. I said on Monday night it was either going to be him or Julio Rodriguez, and it was indeed Vlad Guerrero. Don't pick Pete Alonso. That's the only thing he does. He's hitting 110 in the month of July. He's not doing well right now. Why should he do well in this thing? Vlad Guerrero comes out on top. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how they switched up the format with the home run derby and whatnot too, and how it's the kind of versus format now. I kind of like when it's just who can hit the most home runs.
To me, I think it adds more suspense when you do it in a bracket format, right? Because you obviously get, if everybody gets, they get to the same amount of time, but they're not going head to head with somebody else, then I think at that point well, first of all, it's not as long and drawn out. There's less suspense there, I think is what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a part of me that wants to see just how many each guy can hit, but at the same time, I definitely get your guys' point. With the new format being, it's a better product for the MLB.
Yeah.
It's easier to sell.
Dominic loves his old school stuff. He wants the old format. And listen, I'm with you on this next take. You are a big BCS guy.
Oh, yeah.
You want the BCS back. And I agree. And every ranking system is going to have its flaws to some degree. But generally speaking, the BCS got it right.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly, a lot of that is going to be dying out here in the next couple of years, which is, we just hate to say it, but we still got plenty more to talk about in the world of the MLB. Dominic, you actually showed me an interesting piece of news regarding you're a Dodgers fan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and tell us about it.
So basically, the MLB is doing a world tour. That's been something that's been going on for a while now. And they have a Seoul series, which is Seoul, South Korea.
Yep.
It's going to be the Dodgers versus the Padres, March 20th and 21st, which I'm personally really pumped for that. Some SoCal action there out in South Korea. Get some action between two classic rivals, teams that really genuinely hate each other most of the time. Not as much as the Giants and the Dodgers, but recently it's been growing a little bit, this rivalry, especially with just the talent on both squads now, with Tatis being a huge name, although he hasn't been playing in a while, has he?
He's had his little,
he did a little something not so cool.
Can't shoot up. Yeah.
Yep, former Dodger.
Yeah, obviously you got some big names there. The Padres in recent years have actually been a competent organization as well. And I think it's good to showcase some MLB games out there in Korea. Obviously, the London series, I don't love the London series as much just because it feels like you're playing in I don't know. You're just playing in like a backyard at that point. You're just launching home runs. That's just how it was with the Yankees, Red Sox. Maybe not as much this year with my Cardinals and the Cubbies, but yeah. No, Devin, I completely understand that they're not doing that well. Yeah. No. Yeah. But I see, the reason I like the Seoul is because they love their baseball in some of these Asian countries, Japan and South Korea in particular.
Absolutely.
And of course, if y'all can, obviously this was a terrible time to be alive, but during the pandemic, the only thing you had on television, the only live sporting event you had on television was the Korean baseball organization. So, and they're very passionate about their baseball out there. You see a lot more emotion out of those guys as well. I just think overall this is a great move for MLB.
Absolutely. It's one of the few things that Manfred has done right, I feel, is expanding the game globally and getting those global markets involved, because not only does it sell the product to new people, it gets more kids involved around the world, and they see the MLB and they're like, oh, I want to do that when I grow up. And that's one of the beautiful things about sports and growing it in that way, is just opening new opportunities for kids to eventually become a great baseball player and make a lot of money. And I do love East Asian baseball for sure, because I mean, it's the college football over there. It's where they get the most wild, they get the most rowdy. They have bands at some of these Japanese games.
That's unheard of at American baseball games.
Yeah, it's unreal. Coordinated chants. It's the whole 9 yards, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very fascinating. Yeah. I won't lie. I tried to tune in for one game and then I fell asleep in like the second inning.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
That's what
No, it was like
3
2. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Of course, at that point in your
F1
life,
fans know the struggle.
at that point in your life, who cares, right? It's the pandemic. You don't have anything to get up for the next morning, but it was a struggle for me to stay awake, just putting it honestly. So, no.
They have the cutouts, though.
Oh, man, the cardboard cutouts.
Let's bring back the cardboard cutouts. You know what? We don't need fans at sporting events anymore. We just need some cardboard cutouts.
Yes, and just air conditioning for a fake crowd noise to pump through there. It's literally just like wind blowing. Is what it sounded like. It was awful. So awful. Don't ever want to go back to that time. Let's be a little bit more positive now. We had some Tennessee Vols get drafted in the MLB draft. There's a whole list of them here. So you have both Chase Dolander and Seth Halverson, pitchers, going to the Colorado Rockies. You've got Mal Yahuna headed to the San Francisco Giants. Andrew Lindsay is headed to the Miami Marlins system. Tennessee commit Carson Rucker, brother of former Tennessee third baseman Jake Rucker, is headed to the Detroit Tigers, not coming to Tennessee. Jared Dickey has been drafted by the Royals, and it's basically confirmed that he will be gone now. Bryce Jenkins was drafted by the Mets. We'll see if he ends up going there for sure. Ryan Galaney, the transfer from Wofford that was committed here to play in the outfield. He signed his deal with the White Sox. He is not playing here. So lots of big names for Tennessee in this MLB draft.
Yeah, it's definitely been an exciting one to watch from Vols' perspective. Although, you hear pitchers going to Colorado and everybody kind of goes like,
yeah, that was our gut reaction the other night. And I think, if you look at this from an opportunistic standpoint, it's the Rockies, right? They're not, the most sought after, organization to be in right now. But, you get on the field quick. Another one that I forgot to mention, Zach Joyce, twin brother of Ben Joyce, is joining his twin brother in the Angels system, which is pretty crazy that those two get to play together on the same team or in the same organization professionally in a sport like baseball where you have so many minor league affiliates.
Yeah, it really is pretty incredible. It's cool to see because obviously they've been playing together for a very long time. So being able to keep that going, I'm sure, is huge for both of them, and I'm sure they're very proud of each other. I'm excited to see what all these Vols do in the MLB, and in particular, people will talk about the Rockies and pitching on the Rockies being a difficult task because of the elevation and just Coors Field being how it is. But I think that it presents a good opportunity, obviously, like Tucker said, to get on the field quick, but also to play against tough competition, play in a tough ballpark.
And I think the same thing is true of guys that are with the Nationals right now, guys like Trey Lipscomb and Cortland Lawson. If they play well and they, keep working their way up, they will get on the field pretty quick because, the Nationals are not doing as well right now. I'll tell you who is doing very, very well right now in the minor leagues is one Drew Gilbert.
He is killing it out there. And, man, he is so fun to watch. I'm sure a certain Chris Clark is very happy about it.
Yes, he's doing quite well. I believe he was in Corpus Christi the last time we checked. And, he may end up being the center fielder for the Astros here in maybe a season or two. So that'd be really awesome to watch if we got to see that.
Most definitely.
Yep. Yeah, there's another guy I want to talk about here, and that is Jared Dickey. So in these press conferences that Tennessee had after games, Tony Vitello was pretty open about the fact that Jared Dickey would not be coming back to Tennessee. But for some reason, there were people in the media that were like, yeah, he could come back maybe. But I was just thinking in the back of my head, there's just no way this guy comes back. And sure enough, he gets drafted by the Royals. He's signed by the Royals. And the Royals are not a very good team right now, which, again, from an opportunistic standpoint, is something to keep in mind. If he plays well and he does it consistently, then maybe he gets up to the major leagues quicker. And it reminds me a little bit of something that I just thought of. He was drafted late by a Kansas City team. There was a certain offensive lineman from the University of Tennessee that was drafted late by a Kansas City team. Dominic, do you know who I am talking about?
It's got a familiar ring to it.
Yeah, very familiar ring.
Devin, you want to fill us in?
Yes. Yep. The one and only Trey Smith was drafted in the 7th round by the Kansas City Chiefs. Jared Dickey, day 3 guy in the MLB draft. And you know what? Not only that, he is a Tennessee player, a Tennessee baseball player with the last name Dickey. That name carries some weight, as there was another great Dickey that came through here, R.A. Dickey, very lengthy MLB career. So, if I'm reading the signs right, this guy should go on to have a pretty good career in the MLB.
This feels like some kind of sports astrology here. We're sign reading, we're reading into it. But no, I mean, Trey Smith, obviously, he got his ring with the Chiefs. And so, you go to Kansas City, maybe get a ring. Although, I mean, the Royals are the Royals.
Yeah. They didn't win one that too long ago, though.
No, not too long ago. But I mean,
they did gut themselves after that, though. You're right.
And I just forget they exist. Like, when you think about baseball, the Royals are maybe like the 20th team that comes to mind.
No. Yeah, so out of all of these guys, do you have one in particular that you think will make it to the big league the fastest?
That's a tough one for me. I mean, gut instinct really does want to say Dollander, just because the fact that he is a pitcher and, pitchers are easier to fit into the lineup than position players. Unless it's the end of the season, then they start pulling their minor league guys to get some MLB experience. But I really just feel like Dollander has the best shot at, maybe pitching an inning, filling in for someone here or there. Injuries happen, things happen. Teams need players to come up. I'd hope it'd be better than Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, they're an MLB team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said, too, between the talent that he's facing in the Big 12 as opposed to what you see in the SEC. But, he was able to do some good stuff offensively, maybe not as much pop as some people. But as far as fielding goes, he's one of the best fielding shortstops I've seen in the college game. I mean, the plays he was making last season were just absolutely ridiculous just because you saw Cortland Lawson fumble a little bit at times last year in the postseason. I think that cost Tennessee in some places, but this year he ends up going out there and really made a lot of just awesome fielding plays for the Volunteers. So I'm with you, Devin. I think he will make it fast. Although I got to say, man, the Jared Dickey one is convincing to me because it's not just the sports astrology. It's not just that. It's that this guy was the best contact hitter on the team last season. And, Kansas City is not an organization that's doing particularly well at the moment, but I think he'll end up making it up there pretty quickly.
Yeah, if you can put the ball in play, you belong on an MLB field. End of story.
Yep, absolutely. So with that, we got to take another break. But coming up, we are going to talk some college football. We're going to talk about a situation that is going on up northwest of us, maybe a little bit northwest of us.
Yeah, just a hair, actually.
Yeah, just a hair northwest of us. Northwestern football is it's gotten interesting up there, and the developments just keep coming. We got another big one that developed this afternoon. We're going to talk about it right here on Volunteer Radio on Rock Solid Sports at 90.3, The Rock, UT's College of Rock.
Volunteer Radio thanks Modern Sports Bar, Fieldhouse.
All right.
Social,
We need a J line or whatever that is.
American Craft Food,
There it is.
beer and cocktails, 21-foot digital TV, and plenty more TVs throughout the restaurant and back patio. Open at 11 a.m. except Tuesdays at 4 p.m. FieldhouseSocial.com or their Facebook page. Fieldhouse Social proudly sponsors WUTK's Rock Solid Sports Monday Summer Show at 7 p.m.
WUTK is proud to announce a celebration for the life of longtime WUTK scenester, skateboarder, and 90.3 listener and supporter Jay Cabler, who suddenly passed away in May. Jay Cabler Forever happens July 29th from noon to 10 p.m. at the Knoxville Skate Park and will be a memorial skate jam to celebrate the life and influence of J-Cab. Live performances by the band Hurts to Laugh and Mercy Lights and more will also be a part of the event. So mark your calendars, grab your board, and come on out to Jay Cabler Forever July 29th, beginning at noon at Knoxville Skate Park to salute our longtime friend and supporter. Knoxville misses you, J-Cab.
90.3 The Rock. Thanks to UT Athletics.
This spot was very poorly written.
2023 football fall.
Dude, some spots are so poorly written that I don't know sometimes in the middle of them, so I start fumbling all over the place because I'm trying to read it word for word. It's just, it's not written word for word correctly.
Radio.com. UT student ticket info is at BigOrangeTix.utbrain.edu. 90.3 The Rock says, go ball.
Saquon news.
So that's getting interesting too.
1105 4th Avenue, back corner of the court. Sponsoring it.
I don't think it's this one though.
Luckily it's not. I think it's the same voice over, but they just cut the music on it.
TheHillKnox.com or their Instagram.
I'm in a very sorry group here.
Knoxville Ice Bears Southern
Number
Professional
two, not number one in AP Bowl. Oh man.
For home ice season from October through April includes games in Fayetteville, Huntsville, Roanoke, and more at the Civic Coliseum downtown. Single game and season tickets at KnoxvilleIceBears.com. Rock Solid Sports features Ice Bears Wednesdays with news and updates. Volunteer Radio says, go Ice Bears!
What's going on, y'all? This is Tristan from Queens, Virginia, and you're listening to Volunteer Radio 90.3 The Rock, UT's College of Rock.
Volunteer Radio receives support from Tennessee Smokies Baseball, AA Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2023 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesdays through Sundays at nearby Smoky Stadium in Kodak against the Chattanooga Lookouts, Mississippi Braves, Birmingham Barons, and more. WUTK's Rock Solid Sports covers Smokies Baseball all season long. SmokiesBaseball.com. Link up at WUTKRadio.com.
Rock thanks the One Knox Sporting Club soccer team for their support. One Knox plays all of their home matches at Rico Soccer Stadium on campus, and the season runs into October. Matches against Memphis, Chattanooga, Lexington, and more USL League One opponents. Tickets, including UT student tickets and game day info, is at oneknoxsc.com. WTK is proud to be a media partner with One Knox. Knox Solid Sports will be keeping up with One Knox Soccer all season long. One Knox SC. We are one.
Knoxville, be sure to tune in Wednesday nights from 8 until 10 p.m. for The Alternative, sponsored by Bliss and Corey Mason Shoes on Gate Street and West Town Mall. At Bliss Home, the Galloway Shopping Center, also sponsored by Boyd Chicken Grill Bar and Live Music. Knoxville music about bands from back in the old country days, like the Jayhawks, Uncle Tupelo, Steve Earle, and Jason and the Scorchers, to 90s Americana, like the B-Boys, Whiskey Town, Lucinda Williams, Sunvolt, and others, to modern-day Americana musicians like Molly Tuttle, Tyler Childers, Casey Musgraves, Sturgill Simpson, Billy Strange, and the Punch Brothers. You'll also get classic Americana like Johnny Cash, the band, and Emily Harris, and there's always Patsy Cline at 9. Tune in Wednesday night today for The Alternative. Sponsored by Boyd Chicken Grill, Bliss Home, and Corey Mason Shoes, and only on 90.3 The Rock, UT's College Rock.
Welcome back to the Wednesday night edition of Rock Solid Sports. Tucker Harlan, Dominic Throngard, and Devin Hoke hanging out with you on this brilliant Wednesday night.
Yeah, just hanging out inside your radio.
Yeah, hanging out right there in your terrestrial radio system. All right, so we hinted at a school to the northwest having some turbulence within its football program, and we're going to discuss that now. Northwestern has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald. We discussed it on air the other day, but there have been some things that have come out about this situation that were not there previously. You've got players defending Coach Pat Fitzgerald for whatever it is that happened up there. I'm not going to go into detail about all of the hazing because it's pretty graphic. But yeah, you've had some developments there, and he's hired a lawyer because he's basically being outed $42 million. And this is a program where it is tough to win.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult to win at Northwestern. So it's hard to really judge his coaching career, but the controversy that's come with it has been immense. And, you know, it's allegations, and a lot of them have seemingly been corroborated and confirmed. So I think that they definitely need to move on from this guy because it seems like there was definitely a culture of hazing.
And they did.
There. And they did. They made the right call there. So it's an interesting time up there in one of the Big Tens.
In Evanston. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Or Northwestern can just do what UNC did.
Yep. And Northwestern, as a program, they've only had a handful of double-digit win seasons, and Pat Fitzgerald has managed to do most of them. And by the way, we, of course, experienced the tragic passing of Mike Leach in December of this past year. Pat Fitzgerald walked into basically the same situation when he took over at Northwestern. The head coach Randy Walker passed away, and he had to take the reins there kind of unexpectedly, but he was able to guide them for as long as he could there. So it's impressive, all things considered. But I think it's much easier saying goodbye to a guy when he's not winning games on U.S. soil than when he's winning double-digit games.
Yeah, of course you're referring to when they won that game in Ireland last year, the only one they won. But interesting angle here too is Northwestern had just proposed $800 million renovation plan to Ryan Field. And so now there are apparently staff members who are advocating against it after learning of what's going on with the football program. So it's turning into a real storm up there. So it's going to be interesting to see who might take the reins there. And I believe Tucker has a lead.
Oh, boy. I don't know if I'd call this a lead, but there is a coach that has said that he would be interested in taking that job if the opportunity were given to him. I will give you one hint, and one hint only, as to who that coach may be. Go Tigers. Ed Orgeron has said that if given the opportunity to coach at Northwestern, he would take up on this. Guys, what do we think about a coach like Coach Orgeron, who is coming from a bit of a scandalous athletic program already, jumping into a program that has been busted for doing some hazing?
Sweet Lord in heaven above, I don't think there could be a worse choice for head coach to take over a program that's reeling from scandal. I mean, Coach O, he drips scandal. Like, this guy is a walking scandal. I'm sure if he joined as coach of Northwestern, there would be a lot of excitement.
The culture between him and them, I mean, you've got a higher academic institution, and then you've got Coach Ed Orgeron speaking the swamp dialect, I suppose, coming up there. I don't know. Those poor people, they need a translator. I mean, I'll be honest, I already need the subtitles whenever he's talking, and they're not very helpful. They're really not. But they wouldn't know how to understand him up there at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Those poor people. Yeah. Believe that's in Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah, and part of it with Coach O too is that the reason he was able to do what he did at LSU, it was not him at all. It was his assistants, Joe Brady, Dave Aranda, constructing their offense and defense to their liking. And once those guys left, it turned into one of the worst looks for an LSU program I've ever seen. I've never seen an LSU program outside of that year that I can remember going 6-7, and they really shouldn't have even gone to a bowl game that year, right? Texas A&M just found a way to lose that game and send Coach O out on a high note.
Yeah.
I don't. Send him to a place where he has no resources.
Yeah, Northwestern right now just needs the most plain, boring head coach you can possibly think of in existence to just keep that program level for a little bit, because they're not going to win either way.
They need to hire a grad assistant from their basketball program by the name of Boo Booey. Maybe he can lead them to the promised land.
I think you're right. Boo Booey's got a special place in our
Shout out Keegan Krause.
Yeah, from the college basketball podcast we do, Hardwood Hot Takes. Give us a listen on Spotify. Definitely not plugging our little college basketball podcast.
Yeah, the three of us on Nealon's Basement. Yeah. So we of course will have a lot to talk about on this show this fall, and Northwestern, that's going to be a top of them. Usually, listen, I got sick of talking about firings last year. This is a notice to every single head coach in college football. Please give me a week off from talking about you getting fired. Like, seriously, I had to talk about firings for the entire first half of the season last year, and I got so sick of it.
Man, we had to deal with it a lot too in college basketball. I mean, with the whole Chris Beard situation.
Oh boy. And he's at Ole Miss now. Talk about a scandalous coach and a scandalous place.
A perfect fit.
Yes.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
And not to that degree. Maybe not quite to that degree.
I mean, at Ole Miss, you just have to prove that you did take the SAT, not that you scored anything on it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Chris Beard there. And man, what were we even talking about? We were talking about
Let's do something here. While we're talking college football, obviously there's not a ton to talk about with Northwestern stuff. But let's do some way too early national champions.
Oh boy! And the last 5 minutes of the show. I mean, sure. Yeah. Why not? Oh man, Dominic. Here's the thing. I already know who you're probably going to say.
Oh yeah. You know.
Say it.
Tennessee. Come on, man. I mean,
this man.
Let's honestly be a little bit. To a degree, it is realistic because, I mean, we're returning a decent chunk of talent, and then we're getting so much from our recruiting classes.
Okay.
And honestly, I think Joe Milton is that guy. A lot of people aren't sold on him still, but
yeah, that was another thing that I meant to bring up tonight. There was a report that came out that said he could be the next Anthony Richardson. That is a gross comparison, first of all, because Anthony Richardson is a far better runner. I will give credit where credit's due, but he is not the passer that Joe Milton is.
Yeah.
I
saw that.
I mean, they're both big physical dudes, but they just play very differently.
I saw that, and I got so mad when I saw that. But I really do think Joe Milton is that guy for this Tennessee team. I think towards the end of the season last year, the reason we didn't see him actually utilize his legs all that much, because in previous games, I feel like we have. But at the end of the season, we didn't see it because we were so thin.
You got to know your situation there. And I think Joe absolutely knew his situation. But again, I think Anthony Richardson is still a better runner on his own.
Without a doubt. Yeah. But I'm just saying that's another dimension of Joe's game that we didn't really get to see at the end of the season last year that I think he'll unlock just a little bit this year. I think he'll be a lot more mobile than he looked at the end of last season. But he's got so many weapons now with the Oregon transfer, Dante Thornton. He's got Ramel Keaton. Man, there's a lot of Tennessee receiver talent right now. And just Heupel's offense continues to grow. And our defense should be a lot better this coming season. So I don't see any reason why this team can't potentially win a national championship. Like, I know it's not terribly realistic, but I could see this team doing it. I could see it happening because our offense is what made us win a lot of our games last year. With our defense stepping up and our offense still being at a very high level, it makes sense to me. With who at quarterback?
That's a good question. You're calling the guy. You are calling the guy that lost to Marshall a great quarterback, Devin. Listen to yourself right now. You're calling the guy that almost found a way to lose to Texas A&M, a five-win Texas A&M team. You're telling me that guy's a great quarterback?
Yeah, but Jimbo Fisher's the head coach.
That's true. They have.
Yeah, that's true.
But Jalen Milroe tried to lose that game is what I'm getting at here. All right, I guess I have to go last here as we're running out of time now. I hate to do it, dude. I really hate to do it.
Don't say a three.
Listen, man.
Three-peats aren't real.
Nobody is standing in their way.
Three-peats
Who
aren't
is
real.
standing in their way?
Three-peats don't happen. This is why college football playoffs terrible. It allows three-peats to happen.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. It's horrible. It's the worst thing on the planet.
I don't want it to happen, but it's probably going to, unfortunately.
It won't.
All right. That's going to do it for us tonight here on Rock Solid Sports. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Devin, for hopping on the show. I may or may not be here next week. I might be on the show. I'm going to be at SEC Media Days. I can tell you that. So if I'm on the show, I'll be giving some updates from there. But, yeah, we will see you guys again Friday night from the Hill Bar and Grill right here on Rock Solid Sports on Volunteer Radio 90.3 The Rock. Rockin' ears for 41 years.